After last Tuesday and Wednesday, he might need to add a couple. After the parks.
Bad day.
There's just a lot that needs to be done, and just shorthanded, plain and simple.
Your park planning meetings are done on Tuesday, Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday now.
There's a lot that came through committee on the cemetery. Was that?
So up at the cemetery, you know, both the cemeteries, that never got overlaid or laid thick enough, so a lot of it's breaking up and coming out. I met with Barkley last fall. He says if we don't fix what's wrong now and overlay it, the whole thing's gonna be gone. And then we'll have that charge for tearing it all out and replacing it.
What is a columbarium?
That is a structure that just sits above ground for ash burials.
Oh, okay.
The Galen has one. I mean, so, yeah.
That saves us a lot of lots. They just are placed in there instead.
Yeah, it would just basically sit on one lot.
So if you got that, you wouldn't need to do the sub-basin lot marking for the other ones this year?
Okay.
Okay.
No, Brian, I think the memorial sub-base and lot marking would go along with the expansion to the south, right, Brad?
Yes, that would just be a base for the road, and then marking all the lots with pins.
So Brad, the picture you just showed us, would that be like the cemetery has this and anyone and everyone can go in there, or is that like a family type, this is where the family
That's,
is?
anybody could buy those, yep. The Catholic Cemetery has one, Calvary up there. I think they sell them for $4,500, and they can put 2 ash burials in each one.
Is expansion necessary this year?
Probably not this year, no.
Any other questions of Brad? Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott? Page down there, Joe.
13 would be streets, 33 and 44 as well.
13, 33, and 24.
Yep.
Stormwater.
So you have ash tree removal in yours too.
Yep, that's for in city parking between the sidewalk and the curb, yep,
Okay.
just so that if we need some help.
You think 50,000 is just a yes?
I just put a kind of a number. I just had Kellen's take down, he charged me $1,000. I just had 11 trees taken down that were too tall for us. we got a 50-foot boom, he's got a 70. So he was looking for some work while it was soft out, so I just, yeah, it was about $1,000 a tree, so. And that's with us stumping and doing all the rest of it, but, so that'd only be about 50 trees that he would help us with, you know. I just don't know how many is gonna happen this year. Hopefully we can get a bunch down ourselves. Didn't wanna throw a number in there that scared you.
So before committee, we had a 2025 international replacing a 2000 international at 190,000. After committee, we got it down to 100. How did we do that?
So the chassis, we've done this in previous years where we take the chassis out of that fiscal year, and then right after that comes in towards the end, and then we'll stick the 90,000 out of the next budget. But
Anyone else? Scott? Thank you.
Bet.
Guys are quiet.
You don't get the joke about the last guy.
Where's his 50,000 for ash trees?
Page 13.
13.
It's page 13.
Next time.
Gotcha, okay. Could not find that. Could not find that.
Page are you on now? Joe?
Page 12.
53.
That's only 50.
Right, right. Well, right. We still got to replant. They're not gonna replant it right away. These trees are right away.
Chief, looks like you've got one full-time employee,
Pages,
12, excuse me.
okay.
Page 12.
Full-time being paid 3.
12 and what?
3. We'll
Three.
have the full-time employee listed there.
Okay.
So, currently, as it stands after administration review, our budget is down $97,054 compared to last year's of asking of the taxpayers. We bring in almost $1 million a year, 900,000 city budget-wise with billing, and then our donations and stuff that offset the cost of equipment and things that citizens and businesses are so wonderful to help us out. So currently, we ask less of the taxpayers than police, streets, public facilities, library, and the finance department at City Hall. And we're 24/7, 365 days a year. The thing we're short on yet is people. When we did this merger in 2020, we needed 12 people to make it work. We got 9. So your chiefs have been covering all the hours since then. We did ask for 2 people last year. We got 1. Mr. Wick said, come back next year with the one that you didn't get, and we'll try again. And we're still a couple short, so I put that in the budget this year again to try to add 1 more person. So I can give you an example here of just some hours. Joe and Jan can verify these because they signed the time sheets. So just an example, this is mine. I'm supposed to work 2080 a year. This is what I've been working for a total of 1,851 hours over the 2080. in 3 years. So basically after this year, you'll pay me for 4 years and get one free, which is good if you're buying pitchers of beer, or tacos, or burgers, but not so much this one. The assistant chiefs are all running over 1,000 hours each year. Right now they're at, for this year, 24, for this year, this last year, 2406 and 2443. This was Weiss and this was Schwartz. So what happens, guys, that makes it so tough on our department is we have 2 guys a shift. We're trying to run an ambulance. So if one of those guys takes a day off, one of us has to cover sick leave, overtime, or sick leave, vacation time, all that kind of stuff. So we end up covering that. Plus, then when they're on a call, we're the ones that are picking up the second calls to the tune of 116 second ambulance calls last year. You know, we have 363 transfers. That's a transfer a day. So if that rig goes to Sioux Falls with the 2 guys on it right now that are on shift, that leaves us back to cover, to make sure that it gets covered. So that's where the 12 people came in. So we've done it with 9 of us, but the 3 of us have made up the hours for the 3 that we didn't hire, so to speak, so far, which we love what we do. I mean, we do it. We're not gonna leave somebody lay in the street, but after a while it gets to be a burden. So I'm glad the media left, because if my wife saw that number, I'd probably not get to stay at home tonight, but I'm not home usually anyway. So it's just one of those things of where we're going to keep asking for those people until we get them to make this work the best way possible. And I understand budgets, and you know, I've talked with Joe. I was in there on the floor this morning crying, and he kicked me out of his office. So no, I'm kidding. But we'll do whatever we have to do. But it's coming to a point. Mr. Weiss is leaving this year by the end of the year. So there's going to be, if it's 2406 last year, about 1,200 hours. I'm going to have to come up with the cover just for him next year. So I'm going to be wanting to replace him maybe before he leaves, and then get a new guy on board and try to get him trained, just to stay status quo where we're at if I don't add another person this go around. But we are 24/7, 365, which is a little different than other agencies and divisions. So we don't have a choice of cutting back hours on Sundays or weekends or holidays or Christmas or any of that stuff. So that's the biggest dilemma we have. You know, as far as equipment goes, you guys have been great to us with lost money and ARPA money and things like that to help cover equipment, and then of course our citizens donate. The donated amount of money that's come in has been phenomenal to offset that, and you saw that in my year-end report for all the different donations that we've brought in and grants that we've got and things like that that offset all our tools and things like that. So we'll do whatever we have to do. You know, my fear is, if I don't want to burn people out. We brought Ethan in on days now to help him share some of that hour workload as well. So Jan and Joe have seen his timesheets now, which mock or show the other ones. They're just like the other ones, but that breaks it up a little bit. I don't want to lose somebody. Otherwise, what happens is we put that out for overtime, and then the overtime budget doubles or triples, and then it's if the guys want the overtime, you know. I mean, if they work a 24-hour shift and they run 11 calls and they're out until all nights and don't touch their head on the bed, and then the next day you expect them to do that again, that gets a little tough. And it's a safety thing too. I don't want people working 48 hours straight if they've been running their tails off and driving to Sioux Falls and having an ambulance crash like some other entities have had and things like that. We don't want that thing to happen. So we're making do, we're getting by, but it's not easy. The only other option for us to cut hours is more personnel, or we cut services, which I really would hate to do that, or tell Floyd Valley we can't take 2 transfers at the same time, or we can't handle 2 calls at once, or to up the overtime budget, which that's if guys want to work the overtime this day and age. A lot of people like their off days and their family time and things like that. So we'll keep doing what we got to do to get the job done to make it work. But I know this year's tough, and next year will probably be even tougher, looking at monies and what the state's doing. And I hope the citizens understand that this council and these department heads are trying the best to do the best damn job they can. But when you change rollbacks and you change how much tax money we bring in off of houses and taxes and things like that, that hurts. That really pinches us at the local level to try, to try to provide the services we've been providing or we want to provide for our citizens. So it's not us, it's more at that state level. A lot of times it really puts a hindrance on us. So I understand what you guys are going through, and I appreciate the support, and we'll do whatever we gotta do to get through this, just like we did when we merged, and we'll make it work. And if you owe me a year of pay, you owe me a year of pay. That's just the way it goes. I'm not gonna let somebody lay in the street. I'm gonna be there, and we're gonna be there when we need to be for, you know, Mrs. Wick gets hit by a car unfortunately one day, right? You know, we're gonna be there for her. We're not gonna let her lay there. So that is just kind of an example. You can verify the sheets, but that's where we're at, is a staffing issue, so to speak. As far as the equipment goes, we're sitting pretty good. And we get donations for what we need for a lot of that. I've seen that Joe put down ARPA funds for the turnout gear and the computers. That's perfect. That 5,000 garage door maintenance, take that back if you want it. I mean, we'll come up with some money to work on garage doors. It's a maintenance thing. We got two buildings.
What kind of computers are you buying at $5,000?
So they're the Tough Book laptops that go in the ambulances that have to be carried into the hospitals.
So they're not an office computer?
No. These are ones you gotta be able to get in the weather and drop them on the ground and things like that. They're about $200 a piece. And they're the ones we take in that the doctor and nurse have to sign off when we drop the patient off, and then click them back in, and they ride in the rigs and they bounce around. The one is really bad. It's got duct tape all around it holding it together, so when we walk into St. Luke's or Mercy, it's kind of like, it's a little embarrassing. We're from
So it
Mars and
wasn't tough
we got this computer. Well, nothing's firefighter EMS proof. I can tell you that, Brian. If there's a way to break something, we'll figure it out. But yeah, so that's the type of computers there. But the one that we're replacing was actually with the ambulance crew yet. It's the oldest one. And then the other one's getting almost as bad. We've got 3 of them in 3 rigs. So I thought I'll try to get 2 of them. If you only want to give me one, give me the one with the duct tape. I'll take that. But you can have the other one back if you need it. But like I said, the garage door stuff, we can take care of that in-house too if we have to. I don't have a lot of capital in there. You know, I had a lot of capital last year, Brian, and you asked me about it, and it all got cut out, and we got it all done anyway, because we went out and the public was great to help us out, and you know, we took care of 90% of that capital last year. The turnout gear is an ongoing thing. It's about $3,000 a set. We got 30 people, almost 32 wearing it, so it expires every 10 years. I try to do 3 or 4 sets a year so it don't come where it's all due at one time. So that's the turnout gear thing, to try to keep ahead of that. I used to use the local option sales tax grant for Plymouth County to do that until the county decided to give that all to roads. And then those little grants went away. That's where I used to get the turnout gear. So I kind of had to figure out a different avenue for that. Other than that, you know, the biggest thing in our department is salaries, but our revenue's gone way up.
I've questioned your turnout gear. I guess having 2 sets for every firefighter seems excessive to me. I know the arguments, but I also know that I don't necessarily buy it.
Which argument don't you buy? I'll come up with a
2
different one.
sides of the track.
Okay, so
I mean,
here's
number one,
there's two sides of the tracks.
Your firefighters are gonna be spread out throughout the town, so if you had a massive disaster, railroad car derails, shuts down all of our intersections because he derailed perfectly in the center of town, that we need that type of equipment versus the likelihood that both of those stations are accessible to 80% of the people. And it's not a big deal, to be honest with you. I don't even like bringing it up because to me it's not a lot of money. It just seems like excessive coverage.
Okay, so one of the things we have to do with it too now, Clark, is if we wear our gear into a fire right now, it has to be washed and hung up to dry. It takes about 2 days. So if we send 8 guys into a fire this afternoon, they can go get their second set, so they can still go to the next fire tonight.
Sure.
Otherwise, they have no equipment.
Sure.
So that's why we have the 2 set thing as well, besides the railroad track. So
Okay.
the cancer causing stuff now is really causing us issues to the new criterias of, they're even now with newer fire trucks, putting in compartments that you put your gear in after a fire and you don't carry it in the cab anymore to get it back to the station to wash it. So one of the things we're trying to do, we bought that big wash machine with that grant for $10,000 to get the carcinogens out of that gear, and it spins at that 100 G-force. But then the guy's got to have something to wear with it. That stuff's being washed. So their second set is usually expired or close to expired, and their new set's the new set. So that's why we keep it on a rotation.
Are
because of
you
the cost.
utilizing any part-time EMS people to, instead of sending 2 full-timers that are on a shift and they're in Sioux Falls?
Yes.
and
So at night, we
like
still,
one-on-one?
yeah, at night, we still fill each shift with a volunteer when we can, if they take a shift. So we do a calendar monthly, and we offer up every day right now, and every Saturday and Saturday night, and Sunday night to the volunteers to take a shift. And I would say 90% of the time we can fill that calendar with volunteers, so that 1 paid person stays back and 2 go to Sioux Falls, and it'd be a volunteer and a paid person. But that only leaves 1 here, which means then 1 of us has to come in, or 2 of us, to take the next call while they're in Sioux Falls. So that's where that runs into all the extra time. And anymore, you need about 3 people to pick some of these people up and carry them down the stairs compared to two of us. Sometimes it's 5 people to carry 1 person down, depending on who they are. So, biggest person I've ever seen in town weighed 956 pounds. True story. You're not gonna pick that up with just 2 people on duty.
Right.
Then I should be in here asking for 9 people a shift, but I'm not doing that. So, thank you for your time. Unless there's other questions for me, I'm sorry.
Thank you, bud.
Do they have any other questions? Thank you, and thank you for all your time.
And like I said, our revenue's up this year. Our donations are up. You know, we're not supposed to bring in a lot of money, but almost $1 million with the billing and the donations. So that's a good thing for the city, and we're doing the best we can. So thanks. I'm gonna erase this before somebody takes a picture of it. Shows my guy.
It'll be on YouTube
Trouble.
later.
Yeah, it'll be on YouTube.
Huh?
It'll be on YouTube
It'll be
later.
on YouTube.
Did you put it over here? Who's the new camera guy?
You're lucky you use green and not red.
Yeah, I know,
It's hard to
right?
read it.
Green is good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stand by.
Page 10 and 11. 10?